Let me make sure I got everything. Notepad, Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
Yeah, they're just handing out free stuff over there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll use these if I need them. Uh, is there something you want to talk about, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
I was going to talk about gun control. Just
Gun
thought that'd be
control. Wow. Heavy hitter.
something
Okay.
uh,
Are we ready to roll?
Yeah, go for it.
interesting.
Okay. So, what do you want to talk about regarding gun control?
Well, I believe quite firmly that there should be pretty serious reform to gun rights. I feel like the laws we have in place are really antiquated for a number of reasons. Like,
Okay.
I feel like the world that they were made in was a lot different, that had different needs that we don't really have as much anymore. And also, the guns they had before were way different than they are now. So I feel like we need a lot more restriction over how easily it is to access them and also what kinds of guns you can access.
Okay, so restrictions on guns, what we can and can't access, and to some extent banning some and not others. Okay. Uh, what's the underlying reason for that?
I feel that the cost is a lot greater than the reward for being able to so easily have access to weapons of war. An argument that I've heard frequently is like self-defense is a good justification. And to some degree, I feel like that's pretty valid. Like if you live out in the middle of Nebraska and you like don't trust the locks on your house, I mean, sure, I can see why someone might want something to defend their home with. But I am not convinced that you need something that was manufactured for the military to do that. Like, I feel like you could just as easily have like a small handgun of some sort. That would be a lot harder to like go massacre a theater with, or even like a two-shot shotgun. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about guns, but I so far have not been able to be convinced that you need something quite so destructive. Something that was really made for destruction to defend yourself with.
Yeah, so it just stems from this idea that you don't think it's needed for self-defense. Is that just the general idea of what you're getting at there?
I think it's overkill, and
And
the
because
people we're killing instead are innocents.
yeah. So it's not just that we don't need it; it's that by having it legally available, it's more likely, in your view, that there will be people that access it for bad purposes.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, How much does what you said earlier about our gun laws being antiquated, how much does that affect your beliefs on this issue? So like let's say you were to find out that the founding fathers did account for the fact that in the future guns might be more advanced and might be able to be more lethal. Let's say that they accounted for that and they still wanted the laws to be basically what they are today. Would that move your confidence on this, or would that move your support or opposition for this at all?
I don't think so. I think I would just disagree with them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I would just think that they were wrong.
Okay. What do you think people who support access to these weapons, what do you think their biggest reasons are?
I've thought about this before, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a cultural aspect to it that I am not familiar with. I grew up in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and I have never touched a gun before.
Okay.
so I really am very far removed from the, the subject matter.
Okay.
So I think that probably motivates people a lot. And I think there's also a strong belief in just like the sacredness of the Constitution, and like, oh, like that's a fundamental aspect of the Constitution, we can't change it. Which I think probably people feel really strongly about, which I don't feel very strongly about. But that said, I do have some experience with the harm that guns can cause that I think some people don't. I went to Central Catholic High School, and there was a gun threat to that school, to the degree where we had a full lockdown, and we were told that there was a shooter in the building. There wasn't actually, thank God, but for like 30 minutes we were in the corner terrified that there was actually a shooter in the building. So I feel like that really informs how I feel about this. And I was shocked by how scary it was to see the SWAT team with their M4s. I was like, whoa, that's what almost was here.
Yeah.
In the hands of someone much scarier.
How confident are you that the gun laws need to change, become more strict, like you say?
I'm really confident about this. This is one of my top issues.
Yeah. So 1 to 100. Let's say 1 is I want them to stay the same, 100 is I'm absolutely sure I want them to change, and 50 is I'm not sure.
I'd say like 90% sure.
Okay. And you say yourself you don't know, like, the biggest reasons. It sounds like you have some guesses there about the sacredness of the Constitution, but you're not really sure. You said you don't know a lot about guns, and you're not sure what the supporters of these guns and gun laws, or what their reasoning is.
I would really like to have a conversation with a really articulate supporter for gun laws.
Okay.
I haven't been able to have that opportunity.
Okay, well, let's give you a sort of opportunity with that. I'm going to go a little rogue here, but it's for the purpose of this, of getting you to think about this. I'm not sure where I stand, but I have experience with people that support this stuff, and so I actually know the reasons that you're looking for.
Okay.
And so I'm going to write down right now a couple of the reasons, but I want you to try and guess. That's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to write down. All right, I have my reasons written down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think probably a really huge motivator is that there's a lot of culture surrounding them in, I think, really rural regions of America. Like, there's probably a huge...
That's not my reason, and it's not the reasons I've heard from the supporters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's probably some feeling about, like, the sacredness of the Constitution that we shouldn't be changed.
Not there.
Self-defense is probably is another thing I've heard.
I mean,
before.
self-defense is there for anybody that supports any guns.
Yeah.
But you're only at the tip of the iceberg of the reason there.
And hunting is something else I've heard, but
people don't really use AR-15s for hunting.
I know.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I got.
Okay. So one really big reason I hear often, and it's even a reason that makes me meander on my position, I'm a little undecided on this, is that illegal gun purchases, that's going to be really bad for audio.
Hello.
Illegal gun purchases are in high supply. So basically there's so many people that are criminals that have criminally purchased firearms and there's so many in supply that if you were to ban these rifles from people that are trying to defend themselves from those same criminals, you have put the legal gun owners at a disadvantage against the people that, whether the law is there or not, they're going to have these AR-15s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like it hinges on like a claim about statistics that I am not super familiar with.
Yeah, so if it hinges on that, if it turned out that that was correct, that there was like
Yeah.
a really high supply of
Yeah.
people in possession of illegal guns, or even just it would be known that there is a crazy amount of guns in circulation that are not trackable legally.
Yeah.
If that was shown to your satisfaction to be the case, do you think that would be a compelling reason?
It's hard to answer because like within my scope of existence, I have never seen anyone with a gun before.
Yeah.
So I struggle to believe that.
I'm sorry, I'm bringing up a little bit
No,
of my own experience
please.
here, but just like how it's hard for me to believe sometimes like how bad the fentanyl epidemic is.
Right, yeah.
Because I've never been around anybody that has overdosed on fentanyl,
Yeah, totally.
taken anything with it, but yet statistics say it's there.
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is some argument. I do think there is some weight to that argument that people need to be able to defend themselves from people with illegal weapons. I feel like I have a natural resistance to like fight fire with fire arguments, though. I feel like it just encourages more violence. And like I understand that it's a really complex issue to like tamp down on illegal importation and stuff. But
Okay.
I think just the solution of like, all right, well, everyone gets a gun. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah, so
that just
could it
seems-
be that there is there's regulations that need to be made, but maybe the regulation doesn't need to be made on guns, but how to get guns.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like that. I feel like that's
Yeah.
pretty fair.
And another thing I've heard, regulation on the manufacturing of guns.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we don't limit what's and I'm not saying I support this. I'm just saying this is something I've heard and I want to see where you go with this.
Yeah.
Making it's not about limiting other people's freedoms. It's about like limiting what gets into the market, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think
There's this huge supply that people are worried about.
Making it harder to get access to weapons,
Yeah.
I think is really important. Because, all right, like I'm willing to believe that there are people who genuinely need some form of self-defense.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone who has a gun has that. Like I don't think there's any way that everyone who owns like a military grade rifle needs that for self-defense. So I think making it a lot harder to get the gun and having a much stricter requirements for why you might actually need it, I think would be really good. Like someone to review it and be like, yeah, no, this is like necessary for your existence. And then I might support that.
Okay.
Even still, I feel like I would struggle to believe that it needs to be something meant for murder.
Yeah.
And not something just much smaller.
And let me ask you this. Do you believe that there are times when you may need to allow something for a little while you do something else to eventually phase it out altogether?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's happening right now, but But yeah, like if someone like gave me like a 10-year plan
Yeah.
and proved to me that they're actually going to do it, and that somehow involved, allowing guns that I disapprove
Yeah.
of to exist for a
Yeah.
certain amount of time, like that'd be
So, trying to keep my focus here.
Yeah.
You're concerned that allowing these firearms, allowing a lot of the laws that you're concerned about, it just increases the violence. And you don't want to increase the violence.
correct.
So as long as, this is what I want to know from you, as long as the violence isn't increased, but the risks that you're concerned about are decreased, would you be okay with these laws?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I don't hate weapons fundamentally. I hate
Yeah.
what people do with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if by somehow we were able to eliminate school shootings, then I'd be all for it.
Okay. I'm going a little bit rogue again.
Please.
But this is for the purpose of, getting you thinking.
That's what this is for.
What do you think about school security being increased?
When that happened to my high school, when there was the threat of a shooter, in the aftermath, there was a SWAT team that came, and there was a soldier in full gear standing in my classroom with an M4, and I was incapable of looking anywhere else except at that gun. I was terrified of it, even in the hands of a soldier. Like, I was very frightened.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about all the things that thing could do. And it made me feel very much not like a student.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a reaction unique to me, but I don't think children should be around things that make them think about atrocities in that sense. Like, I don't think that children should need to be around
So like
weapons.
having armed security guards, you don't think children should be around that if it's making the children uncomfortable?
It was frightening to me as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And like, maybe you could say that, if we have them for a long time, kids will just get used to it. But like, do we want our children to get used to seeing weapons of murder? Like, I feel like that's...
Yeah, you're wanting a better way. You're wanting it possible to make our children safer.
Right. Like, I feel like
having to feel like they live in a police state.
I think that there's, in addition to like their bodily safety, I think there's something important about their psychological welfare. And I think the constant reminder that someone might want to kill them, and then here's a person who's going to kill the person trying to kill them, is not good for their psyche. Like, I want the children to not have to think about death.
You think it
when
would
they go
increase
to school.
paranoia?
I think it just, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
What if?
Yeah.
All right. This is. How many mass shootings happen at airports?
At airports?
Yeah, in the United States.
I have no idea, but probably few since the security is so strict.
Yeah, and how many? And yet, I don't know. Have you been to airports? Yeah. Like, I maybe saw like one guy strapped with a big gun.
Yeah.
I didn't see a bunch of people like that.
Yeah.
It's mostly like, but there's just really good security around the whole thing.
I mean,
so if it could be like that,
we could like TSA our schools.
TSA your
like,
school, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
okay. I don't know if that, like, I mean, all right.
yeah.
I feel like that's just.
Or what about this? Like, how many shootings have been at a professional sports stadium?
I have no idea. Probably not many because they have.
I tried Googling it. It was zero.
Okay.
I think it's been zero. Just like,
yeah.
There may have been skirmishes outside of the stadium.
Yeah.
But inside of the stadium, and yeah, it's just like, it's funny because like, I've been to stadiums. I don't recall like seeing a bunch of dudes with AR-15s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like good security.
Like, sure. I feel like a solution to
Yeah.
school shootings might be to just turn our schools into fortresses.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
And it's sad, right? Because like
I
it's not ideal.
I feel that it's a solution that nobody really wants and
Yeah.
is a solution to a problem that we're making for no reason. Like, I feel like we could just as easily limit access to dangerous firearms, and no one would lose anything that's actually very valuable, except for, like, they can't go shoot at the range when they want to. Like, I don't know.
But remember, there was that reason I brought up.
Right,
Yeah,
which I believe is valid.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a way to keep that in mind would be to still allow guns for people who, like, genuinely really need it, but
you base it on like an area thing, like if they live in certain neighborhoods.
Sure, or just like make them
Yeah.
apply and make it really much harder to get it, and the only people who genuinely really need it will get one. Like
Okay.
then,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I think in doing that, we could reduce the number of guns people have who don't need them, while still maintaining the self-defense that people who really do need it need.
Yeah, I think I understand your reasoning. You know, you want to reduce violence, and you also want the psychological needs of the public and the students, just the public in general, to be accounted for in how we do that.
Yeah.
But as long as those needs are met, you're willing to you would be open to making changes that maybe conflict with what stance you came into this conversation with.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've changed a whole lot, but I do feel like I have a better understanding of the opposition to what I'm talking about, and I feel like I found a more middle ground approach to what I was thinking about.
Yeah, but I do want to make sure, like, because I want to make sure I understand you before we go. If those concerns that you had were met, like the concern of the psychological needs, we don't cause trauma, and the concern of increasing violence, increasing violence on others, like that's what's underpinning all of this, right? Is there anything else? Yeah. So
if those things were satisfied, then
if those things were satisfied, then even if it was done a way that you didn't think of before, you could change your position on guns. All right. Thank you very much for this, Luca.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I like your hat.
Thank you. I like what you're doing with the facial hair there.
This is neglect, but thank you.
Is VA for, what does that stand for?
This is a high school I went to before I went to Central Catholic. It shut down.
Okay.
But
yeah. No, thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Shake your hand.
Thank you very much.
So great seeing you again.
Good seeing you too.
Justin says hi. I sent him a picture over Discord. So
nice.
It's such a small world.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's getting smaller.
That's very cool.
So you have the channel.
I do.
If you want to contact me, it's my channel at Gmail. So yeah, maybe we'll meet up again someday.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
That was great.
Hey, Luca, I wrote one more reason, but it's a weaker reason, so I didn't say it.
What is it?
But I just want you to know it before you go. I think big guns, like when you allow big guns, like AR-15s or something, you're more likely to win an armed conflict against somebody with smaller guns.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. But I wrote that down, that's all.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Then, like, in that case, like, all right, like, I might be okay with people having like a shotgun. They can have like a 2-shot shotgun, Like, all right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't think people should have something where you can go mow down hundreds with it. Like,
Well, yeah. So you say you didn't know a lot about guns. I just wanted you to know, like the weapons that you saw the SWAT using
yeah,
are not the weapons most likely that a school shooter would have.
I know.
Because the school shooter has a semi-automatic
I know.
rifle. Okay, so you already know that difference.
I am
All
familiar
right.
with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
The guys that I saw at my school had M4s, and those were automatic, and I know that
Yeah.
those are illegal. Like, those are assault rifles, and those
Well,
are...
not only are they illegal, they're just very hard to obtain, even illegally.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And the reason that is because, like, I think they've been banned, except for people with like really special grandfather clause licenses for like 30 years, something like that. It's just been, it's been out of the market for so long.
I know that assault rifles are illegal, but like an AR-15
is still
from
around.
what I understand, is very, very similar to an M16, which is an assault rifle. Just the fact that it is semi-auto and not full auto.
Yeah.
So besides that fact, it's functionally very similar. And if you can...
But that's a big difference, you see?
Yeah, but then you can also get a bump stock, and it's...
Which were banned.
And then now
but
they're
then
back,
that overrode,
right?
they are back. They are back.
So it's...
That's true.
Almost like an M16. Like,
yeah, I got you
need a
there.
bump stock
Like I said, it was my weaker reason, so I didn't even use it. But yeah.
Were you able to reflect on the quality of your reasons?
Yes.
Cool. Are you still at the same confidence level?
I'm at the same confidence level in like my fundamental principles.
Yeah.
But I have more confidence in my understanding of like what the opposition might say and my response to that. And kind of like middle ground on that one.
So clarity. There's clarity.
Yeah. But what about your confidence in like we need the laws that you were thinking of coming into this?
I didn't really have a law I was thinking we needed.
You wanted laws changed.
Yeah.
So how has your confidence, is it the same or is it up or down as far as like wanting to change the laws we have?
It's about the same. I just have a clearer picture of what I might want to change them to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad with that. Yeah.
Me too.
That's great.
See you.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see you around.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
So just to clarify, my host, Justin, hi there. Would you like to do an interview?
Yeah, just 5-minute interview.
Sure, I guess.
Cool.
Feel free to sit here.
What's your name, man?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, I'm Dax.
Well,
Nice to meet you.